Super Media Bros Podcast is a founding member of the OddPods Media Network. Welcome to the Super Media Bros Podcast, where two best friends give comedically informative takes on movies, music, pro wrestling, and more. I'm Richie, and this week we are finally getting to a movie that I have actively avoided talking about for a number of years. Also, today is Devin's birthday, so he has the day off. So everybody out there wish Devin a happy birthday, god damn it. But I couldn't do this particular episode by myself because it would probably just devolve into a hate fest. And I'm trying to be as objective as humanly possible with this. In fact, I have very much pinpointed why I feel the way that I feel about this movie. We're going to be talking about A Christmas Story this week, and so I brought along a returning guest that has just made it a habit to come on once a year, and pretty much during the Christmas holidays. 2 years ago, we talked about Dial Code Santa Claus and Bloodbeat, and last year they were on the back half of a Cult Cinema Showdown episode to talk about Gremlins. So please welcome back my live-in analyst for the film in question, A Christmas Story, Puck. What's up?
Not much, except unlike you, I'm not a Christmas-hating bastard.
And that right there is the entire point. I am a Christmas story-hating bastard. I don't hate Christmas. I am a Christmas story-hating bastard, which my dislike for this movie has earned me the title of Christmas-hating bastard, even though I'm not a Christmas-hating bastard. And I don't even actually really hate A Christmas Story. At this point, I say that I hate A Christmas Story just to piss people off. I strongly dislike this movie. However, there are some redeeming qualities, and I will be pinpointing the exact reasoning for my disdain for this movie.
I still don't understand why you dislike this movie so much. It's so good.
See, and that's the whole thing. I needed you here because you get it. You're from the area in which this story takes place.
Ohio, baby.
Yeah, but this is very much an Indiana Midwest story, and it's very, very dated. It is based on the book "In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash," which the person that wrote that book actually narrates the story, and it deals with a child named Ralphie Parker, who was a 9-year-old, and the film is set in 1940, which is one of the reasons I'm like, not for me. This movie is extremely dated, can't relate at all. He wants a Red Ryder Carbine Action 200 shot range model air rifle for Christmas.
Which, fun fact, my little brother got when he was 6 years old. It was a tradition in our family that both me and my little brother got our first quote-unquote gun at 6 years old. I got taught how to shoot one when I turned 7, and my brother learned right around the same time when he turned like 6 or 7.
Which one of you shot your eye out?
Neither one of us, but I was the better shot.
Did you shoot anybody else's eye out?
No, I would have probably gotten my ass kicked if I would have shot it at a person.
Damn it.
That was one thing that got hammered into us first thing before we actually got to even load the thing was we got taught proper gun handling. First thing was do not point the gun at anything you did not intend to shoot.
In which case, Ralphie does neither of those things.
I'm telling you, he wasn't doing a bad job. It's just he's a dumbass. He's a stupid 9-year-old. I'm not going to lie. As far as I'm concerned, all 9-year-old boys are kind of dumb.
But Ralphie wanting this Red Ryder gun is pretty much, full pun intended, shot down by everybody and his own mother.
Literally everybody's like, dude, you're going to shoot your eye out. You don't need this. And literally everybody, when he's like, oh my God, I want this Red Ryder Carbine Action BB gun. They're like, how about a football instead? You know, concussions are so much safer than potentially shooting your eye out.
But especially in the 1940s, whenever we didn't have any kind of regulations for helmets or neck protection.
Helmets were made out of leather. How's that going to save your stupid brains?
If the brain is stupid, it doesn't need saving in the first place.
Well, you don't want to make it more dumb, do you?
I mean, they did.
I mean, fair.
The way the movie is laid out. It's not strange, but I can tell that they pulled stories to make this movie happen.
To be fair, I kind of like how it just feels like a bunch of like little vignettes kind of put together.
But that's exactly what it is.
And the way it's set up, you're just like, this makes sense. This is like winter for a child.
The most fascinating character in this movie for me is the dad.
I'm telling you, he is such a cool guy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I think of like friends I had in school, some of their dads kind of make me think of that. My dad kind of makes me think of him. I swear, every Midwesterner that you'll ever talk to either knows somebody who has a dad like Ralphie's dad, and if you don't know someone with a dad like Ralphie's dad, you had that dad.
Ralphie's dad is Darren McGavin, who also played Billy Madison's dad. But he's like the most fun part about this movie. I think his lines are fucking hilarious, his delivery. The fact that he's always fucking around with something in the basement.
He's always fucking around with the...
That's the furnace, right?
It's the furnace, and then like the way he interacts with the neighbors' dogs because they've got all those fucking bloodhounds, and they always get in their house. The fucking Bumpuses, and they're like billions of dogs.
Yeah, but this old motherfucker, the dad has such like... He's got all kinds of shit going on. Like, he has his own subplots, his own side quests in this movie, and it's fucking funny. The fact that when he goes down to fuck with the furnace in the first place, he cusses so goddamn much that Ralphie says, and I quote, "There is a cloud of profanity still hanging in space over Lake Michigan." It's like, god damn. Like, there's some funny lines in this movie, but then there's other lines where I'm just like, god damn, I can tell this was in the 1940s. The book that it was written from was 1966. Like, you have 20-year intervals here. The movie mostly chronicles Ralphie just kind of having, it's his point of view as a child, seeing the way that his friends at school interact, the way he tries to win everybody over outside of his parents to convince his parents to get him this fucking gun. So far as having like fantasies about winning an award for writing the paper, like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And he's like having this whole dream sequence, which the dream sequences that he has are fucking outrageous. First of all, the fact that he daydreams about having this Red Ryder gun, like the thieves that are in the backyard.
But it always made me laugh that like they're living in like a suburban area almost, and meanwhile his family's all dressed up like frontiers people, and he's dressed up if fucking Liberace was playing the Lone Ranger. He was a rhinestone cowboy. And he's like, "Don't worry, with me and old Blue." He shoots all of them in the ass and they run away. And they're like, "This isn't over."
It is the most Looney Tunes looking fucking thing I have ever seen.
The fact that every single one of his daydreams has like weird cartoon logic, you're just like, yeah, I thought like this when I was 9 years old too.
I don't know. I guess I couldn't relate to hardly any of this shit because like, it was like 1940s. Like I must say, like I didn't get Christmas growing up, like because of my upbringing. My family didn't celebrate Christmas. I didn't get birthdays. I didn't get Halloween. I got nothing. Like literally got fucking nothing until I was probably maybe 18. I don't even remember the first time I celebrated my birthday or celebrated Christmas, but it definitely never happened whenever I was a kid. So watching all of this is highly unrelatable for me, first of all, in that regard. Secondly, it's in 1940. Anybody that was born in the mid 80s is not going to fucking relate to this movie exactly, or really know. This movie was designed for people that were already either late teen, early adult, or full-blown adults in the 1980s because those people had those traditions and upbringings. However, you had a similar upbringing because your parents are like a day older than dirt. And also, I loved them, but I'm just saying.
Say they were born in 1970.
Yeah, but the thing is that they grew up with those memories of their childhood, and I'm pretty sure that they instilled a lot of that onto you and your brother.
I'm gonna say, to be fair, they were like the babies of multiple kids, and to be fair, even in like the 70s and 80s, my mom had like childhood closer to that. honestly, I had similar childhood. I grew up in a fucking rural-ass farming area in central Ohio. My hometown, as of 2020, has just over 2,000 people in it.
Is it still a village?
It's still a village. It's not even town. It's village. Like, I swear to God, it may be in the 2020s, but you go into my hometown and it's like the town that time forgot.
It really is like doing the time warp going back to Utica. And in this movie, I will admit, looking at how the housing structure is and everything, like obviously it's in Indiana, but it is absolutely 100% Midwest as fuck. Like you can tell by the way people talk, by the way the people interact with each other. Now, I don't want to go beat by beat for the movie, but a lot of the vignettes that do happen in here, Ralphie has a couple of friends, Flick and Schwartz, and they're arguing about whether or not your tongue will get stuck to the metal pole during the winter. And it brings up the whole triple dog dare joke, which, you know, again, it's like, really? That's like, but, you know, I guess.
You didn't do that as a kid?
Yeah, but it's like, you know, it's
triple
corny.
dog dare is like.
It's like the end all be all. I know.
Well, I was going to say, it's the kid version of no balls, pussy won't.
So Flick gets triple dog dared to stick his tongue to the flagpole. And it does get stuck, but here's the funny thing. And they just fucking leave him out there.
Oh my fucking God, I know. And when we were watching it, I was just like, you know, I know somebody that something like this happened to.
Nobody wants to tell the teacher that they left him out there and he's just stuck, standing there to the flagpole. And then she finally has to go out there and call the fucking fire department.
That poor little bastard windmilling his arm so he doesn't rip his tongue off.
Another part is the major award. Now, this is probably the most iconic piece of literally anything from this movie. I think it's hilarious that they just call him the old man. Like, he doesn't really call him dad too much. It's like the old man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because it was my old man. So there's a giant crate with Fragile written on it. And they're like, hey, this end up. I do think it's funny that they're like, hey, this is Fragile. Hey, deliver it with this end up. But whenever they bring it in, they just flop that bitch right on its side. And you're just like, well, what is this? Like, I sure the fuck hope that whatever was in there just didn't break from being put on its side.
I'm just going to say, you can't tell me that any time that you've gotten something that's marked as fragile, they don't fuck it up somehow.
Yeah, side quest here. Fucking, I watched somebody in a Facebook group get a record in the mail that was literally bent to the point that they fucking broke the vinyl record. And I was just like, how do you fuck that up?
I remember when you told me that story because my eye literally started twitching. You know, vinyl's not cheap, so the fact that they folded that fucker in half.
Yeah, they folded that bitch up good, but you couldn't fold what Mr. Parker gets in the mail, which, again, he wins this, quote, major award in a newspaper contest, and it's a fucking lamp that is shaped like a woman's leg with a fishnets on it. And it's funny because not only is he just like, fuck yeah, but Ralphie's just like staring at it, and the mom's like, Ralphie, and he's just like, what?
He's just like feeling up to like, yeah, major award. And when like narrations happen and talking about it, he's just like, his mom at one point distracts him like, oh my God, isn't it time for like your favorite radio program? And he straight up is like, the only thing that could distract me from the warm glow of electric sex
is the fucking radio.
Exactly.
So the dad not only pulls this fucking lamp out and sets it up immediately, he puts it on the fucking end table right next to the front window, goes outside, and he is directing traffic on how to position this fucking lamp so that the neighbors can see it the best.
Meanwhile, all the guys that live in like their neighbors are like, bro, what is that? And he's like, it's a major award. What do you think?
Yeah, you can't fucking tell him what it's for. It's just like, oh, it's a major award, and I won it. And fuck, by God, this is my trophy case. Like that, the leg is the prize, and the house is the trophy case itself, with the window acting as the glass fronting on it.
And then like all the other neighbor guys are like, you see that? He won that. That's a major award.
And so on it goes.
And meanwhile, Ralphie's mom is standing behind it in the front window trying to hide her face because she's so embarrassed that they've got this giant leg lamp in their front room window. She's
also jealous too, because like there's another running gag that happens later where it breaks mysteriously,
quote unquote, accidentally.
And he can't fix it at all because she used up all of the hot glue. Is it the hot glue that he's looking for? The super glue. Yeah.
He's like, give me the super glue. We're out. And he's like, you were always jealous. How am I jealous of a lamp? That is the ugliest lamp I've ever seen in my life.
So he fucking buries it.
He gives it a burial, and then like narrator Ralphie's like talking about how he swears he could faintly hear taps playing in the distance while his dad's burying the remains of the lamp in the backyard.
That tracks.
Hey, you there. We've got a question for you. Are you tired of clickbait stories and the loudest voices driving discussions in culture and entertainment?
If so, I'm Dylan.
I'm Kendall.
And I'm Corey. And we host the podcast From the Middle. We're middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives with points of view somewhere in the middle.
We take a more reasonable and centrist approach in our discussions covering genres like comedy, culture, entertainment, and interviews with really interesting folks like business owners, comic creators, doctors, news anchors, New York Times best-selling illustrators, professional stand-up comics, and more. We really value a relaxed and conversational podcast. One that we hope is so fun and laid back, you'll forget you're not actually hanging out with us.
So search at From the Mid Pod, just like it sounds, or check us out everywhere you can find podcasts.
Also, another plot or running gag is that, speaking of mail and papers, Ralphie is checking the mail almost daily for this like secret decoder ring that he got through an Ovaltine promotion. And I think Little Orphan Annie was like the radio show that he heard it on.
That was like his favorite radio program because that's the one that tore him away from the leg lamp.
But the ring finally gets there, and it's so goddamn funny. Like, this is one of the funniest things ever because he had, I want to say, just like not even a few scenes before this, said the fuck word whenever his dad was having to change out the tire on the side of the road.
Yeah, because they went to get their Christmas tree, and his dad has them come out because they blow a tire, and he's holding the hubcap with the bolts in it for the tire. If I remember right, his dad bumps the hubcap, and they just go flying, and he's just like, "Oh, fudge." And then he's like, but I didn't say fudge. I said the big one, the Holy Mother, the F dash 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 word.
It cracks me the fuck up because they do the whole thing where they're like, hey, we're just going to put a giant bar of soap in your mouth as punishment. And like he has another one of these fucking fantasies where he's blind because of the soap poisoning. Yeah. That he's blind from it. And you're just like, what the fuck?
I remember watching this like with my family as a kid, and my mom and my dad would both be like, when he's listing off all of the different types of soap that he's had his mouth washed out with over the years, and both of them are like, oh my God, I remember getting my mouth washed out with that one. Yeah, he's right. Palmolive was okay. Oh my fucking God, you didn't want your mouth washed out with fucking Lifebuoy.
I had hot sauce.
I got the soap once. My brother got it a lot more, and it was mostly when we were at our grandparents' house.
You know what's fucked up? The one time that I did have my mouth washed out, it wasn't a bar. It was fucking Liquid Joy.
My brother did that to himself one time with hand soap. When my grandma would wash his mouth out with soap, it was always Irish Spring because that's the only soap my grandparents bought. I could only imagine how bad that tastes.
Fun fact, I think Irish Spring, you ever have something where you're just like, you can't eat it, but you're like, this smells so good, I would eat it. That's how I feel about Irish Spring. It smells so good that I would eat it. But then I'm like, oh, do I really want a brick of soap in my mouth? Crunching it like Ren on Ren and Stimpy.
Oh my God. When he's just like, ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, he's like, my ice cream bar. And he just chomps into it, big fucking, and you can just hear the blocks of soap crunching apart between his teeth.
I know, and it makes me cringe so bad every time I see that part.
So he says the fuck word. However, in this scene where he's trying to decode this message, it's fucking funny because his little brother has got to take a shit and he won't fucking get out of the bathroom. He's just like, gee, hold your horses. And he's like, I'm almost got it. And he's using this decoder ring to read the message. And it just says, be sure to drink your Ovaltine. And he's just like, Ovaltine? Son of a bitch. Like, and it's funny to hear him say son of a bitch, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect him to say it like that, but it was fucking funny. Like, out of the entire movie, this scene is the one that genuinely tickled the fuck out of me watching, because I was like, okay, that's a great reaction. That's fucking fun.
Dying when it first happened. You were like, wait, did he just... Then you rewound it. Then you started dying because you realized that he cussed again. You were like, ha, ha, ha.
So he's just like walking out of there like, well, that was fucking pointless, because it was really fucking pointless.
I hated that when you would get prizes like that in cereal boxes or stuff, or if you'd send stuff in for something like it. And it was always the same fucking kind of thing. It was, if you got it as like a cereal prize, at least one of the first couple things that they would always put in there with it was some kind of fucking advertisement. Like, oh, hey, insert cereal brand mascot stuff.
Hey, we know you already bought the Ovaltine, but you want to buy some more Ovaltine there, kid?
To be fair, Ovaltine's fucking great.
Yeah, Ovaltine is pretty good. You know what it's actually really good to do with Ovaltine? If you fucking take vanilla ice cream and sprinkle it on top.
Oh my God, that sounds so good.
That's because it is good.
I'm not gonna lie, like, my favorite part of this every time, like, of the movie are, like, the little interactions with, like, the school bully. Always loved that, like, when they introduce him, he's just like, his yellow eyes. He had yellow eyes.
Scott Farkas gets his ass beat by Ralphie, which is another scene where I was just like, okay, he finally fought back, because Farkas was like the neighborhood bully. He like fucked with everybody.
Yeah.
But what was funny is his little right-hand dude was just like, what the fuck? Like, he beats the fuck out of people that are obviously this same kid's age and everything, but he's got him like hanging around as his lackey and shit. He's just kind of like an echo chamber for him.
He's so tiny. He's like this itty bitty little kid. Nailed Ralphie with a snowball and he starts making fun of him. He's like, oh, what, you gonna cry now? And he just fucking snaps and beats the shit out of that kid.
You can tell, like, they probably told Peter Billingsley, they're just like, you know, just do whatever. Like, we're gonna
smack him.
Yeah, we're gonna roll camera, Zach. Just stay there and take it. It's like, fuck, okay.
And like, he bloodies the kid's nose and he's just like, he goes home.
Which, good on the mom for covering for him in this scene, which I think is hilarious, because, you know, his little brother is just like, Dad's gonna kill Ralphie. And she's like, Dad is not going to kill Ralphie.
Yes, he is.
I like how he drinks his milk under the sink.
Every time I've seen this movie, I'm just like, you wonder why this kid will not eat his dinner. You're giving him a giant-ass glass of milk.
I wonder if he pisses the bed like Fuller in Home Alone. That's a lot of liquid to be giving somebody before bedtime.
Have you noticed, like, how much fucking milk that these kids drink? I swear, people back then just had, like, cast iron bones.
This is why Ralphie kicked the shit out of Farkas. He had his fucking milk. He had vitamin D milk.
He drank milk and drank plenty of Ovaltine.
What if that was his calling card? Like, Ralphie turns into the neighborhood bully and he beats the shit out of people, and like the very last thing that he tells them is to be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
I hope that's what happens. Yes.
Now, there's a meeting that he has with Santa Claus where he's just like, you know, I've exhausted all my options. My teacher even wrote that I'm going to shoot my eye out on this paper. My parents aren't getting me this fucking BB gun. I've got to ask Santa Claus. And he freezes and accepts a football as a gift because he can't tell Santa what he fucking wants. And Santa's like, hey, you want a football, kid? Yeah, he'll get a football. Fuck it. And the way that it's set up at this mall or shopping center is that on the podium that Santa is placed upon, there's a slide, and the children slide away from him. Ralphie is getting ready to go down it. And then he fucking comes out of his trance and he's like, holy shit, hold on. And he fucking turns around and tells Santa everything he wants. And Santa's just like, okay. And then the helper like shoves him like with his foot, like boonk. And he just slides down and
yeah, because he freezes and he says it. And then Santa's like, you'll shoot your eye out, kid. And pushes him down with his toes. Ho, ho, ho.
It's kind of one of those moments where, do you remember in basketball when Trey Parker's getting pelted with those fucking eggs and he's like, like it's all slow mode and shit? That's like, that's Ralphie's dreams fucking dying right there. He just fucking slides down to the abyss. Another thing that like I legitimately couldn't relate to because like you're from the Midwest, I'm from fucking Louisiana, so we didn't have quote Christmas winter. We just had, hey, it happens to be cold for a few days this week. It's going to be winter, spring, summer, and fall inside of a 2-week span here. His little brother, that poor bastard, looks like the Michelin tire guy. There are so many pairs of fucking pants and coats and like scarves and beanies all over this child. This poor bastard. No fucking wonder he was as rail thin as he was. He was not getting any type of like sustenance because he just worked out by carrying the weight of this entire fucking Michelin tire guy get up.
The poor kid, I swear. Because my mom used to put my brother and shit like that when he was 4 and we wanted to go sledding. The poor little kid, he's just standing there and he starts crying and he's all muffled because of all the scarf on his face. And then she just wraps his face back up. She's like, you can put your arms down when you get to school.
So like we venture through all these stories and happenings with Ralphie and the rest of his family. But Christmas Day finally arrives. And they get all these presents, including this giant bunny sleeper. Like, it's a giant bunny onesie. It's a pink one from his Aunt Clara. And he's forced to try it on. And then his dad calls it a pink nightmare, which it fucking is. And then, you know, they tell him, hey, take it off, but you got to put it back on whenever your aunt visits. And he's just like, I've never seen a child bolt up a set of stairs so quickly in my entire fucking life.
He opens the gift, sees that it's pink, and he's just like talking about how his aunt perpetually thinks he's 4 years old and also a girl. And it's so funny because it's like feety pajamas and the feet have little bunny faces on them and it's got big old bunny ears on it.
I know a ton of people that would kill for that get up.
I am one of those people.
I don't like a lot of this movie, but same.
They look so warm.
Yeah, it does. So he gets all this shit, right? And they're done opening gifts. And his dad's just like, hey, what's that over there? Like between the tree and the wall. And Dad came through. Like, of all the people that he really didn't ask, you got on. Like, I don't think he asked his dad for the fucking BB gun at all, which is good storytelling, really.
He put a ad from like one of his comic books in his mom's magazine, and he wrote the theme in school. And he asked Santa, and his dad's just like, I was a boy once. I know what to get this kid. And he's just like, boom, BB gun. Because he even, like, when his mom starts kind of like, where did this come from? He's like, I had one when I was his age.
Right. He immediately goes outside to shoot the fucking thing, and he shoots a metal sign, and the BB ricochets and smacks him right in the fucking face and the glasses, and he Velma Dinkley's around the yard for a minute before crushing his glasses.
I'm just going to say the fact that, like, Ralphie thinks so fast. He's like, I'll tell him that it was an icicle and it fell off the garage and hit me in the face.
This kid didn't deserve a fucking BB gun. He's a lying shitbag. But his parents buy it hook, line, and sinker. The dad is making Christmas dinner, which is like turkey and all this other shit. Well, the door gets left open, and at least 785 hound dogs roll up in this motherfucker from the bumpuses, and they fuck up the entire setup. eat the food, and the Parkers, especially mom, has a fucking meltdown over this. And it is fucking hilarious. I'm just like, oh, like I would be sad, but I'm laughing at their misfortune because, you know.
It always makes me laugh when, if I remember right, I think it's this part of it when he notices, like, when the turkey's just destroyed and his dad looks, sons of bitches! Because, like,
he's got a vice grip on that fucking drumstick.
Because his mom comes down, I think she had left the room and went upstairs. She comes back in the room, and the dogs had just destroyed the kitchen. She's just like, what? And he's just like, holding the piece of turkey, and he's just like, everybody get dressed. We're going out to eat.
I don't blame him at that point. I would have done the same shit where I'm just like, you know what? Fuck this. We're going to find whatever's open and we're going to have dinner. I don't care.
I'm not going to lie. I would have been so upset. We're fucking having Christmas cereal. Fuck this.
So they go to have dinner at a Chinese restaurant on Christmas Day, and we get one of the most, I'll just use the term, dated quote jokes ever, which is just like, fuck, I can't believe like this shit ever flew.
It's so fucking racist.
You've got the Chinese restaurant employees all gathered around singing Deck the Halls, but instead of fa la 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 la, it's fa ra 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 ra. And I'm just like, oh my God. And it's not even like accidentally there. It is 100% placed and sang exactly that manner. It's like, oh my God, really, dude?
I'm not gonna lie. What is like the saving grace of that whole part is when they start bringing the food out and then they stop singing, and I'm just like, thank fuck.
Thank God, some good fucking content and it's food.
The one guy brings out the Peking duck, and they're just like, huh? What do you think? And he's just like, oh, it's a beautiful duck, but it's smiling at me. And then he picks up the fucking meat cleaver, just wham! And then the mom just panic screams because the duck just got beheaded, which they did not tell her that they were gonna chop off the duck head. So that scream is 100% legit. She did not know that was gonna happen.
That's fucking great. That's right, because they called it Chinese turkey.
Yeah, they were like, this was the year we got introduced to Chinese turkey. And I always love, like, the last scene when it's just, like, the mom and the dad on, like, Christmas night. And they're just sitting in the living room looking at the tree, looking out the window at the snow. And, like, you see the kids in their room and they're sleeping with his little brother's got, like, a Zeppelin that he had gotten for Christmas. And fucking Ralphie's in bed with his goddamn BB gun pointed right at his brother.
I mean, why not? It's interesting you bring up that shot as the end, because I mentioned in the Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 review that I did with my friend Trevor, Bob Clark directed A Christmas Story. However, 10 years earlier, Bob Clark directed Black Christmas. Again, I say, this man is a man of duality and gives you both sides of Christmas. And the reason I say I love this shot is because of the way that it's very dark lit, and the tree is that real saturated, like neon, not literal neon, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's the bulbs and the coloring on them.
The ceramic on the bulbs just makes the colors.
Yeah, it just glows, and it's very fascinating, very beautiful.
I like that the way that shot's set up is like really similar to a lot of the shots in that movie, but it gives a completely different feeling. And part of it's like, because you know the kind of movie that's wrapped around that, and you're just like, this feels all like warm and cozy and like kind of nostalgic, and any shot like that in Black Christmas is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, Black Christmas is just a great movie.
It's so good.
All around. Much better than A Christmas Story. But
it's good in its own way.
Again, this movie is tolerable to watch for me. I know that a lot of you out there adore this movie, and that's okay. I don't. I think it's overrated. I can't believe that TBS/TNT plays this or played this for 72 hours solid on their stations. Like, I think that's another reason why I was so just over it, because the one time that I watched it, like for the first time, was on TV during one of these marathons. Like, I guess I'll check it out. And I watched it and I was just like, why is this so popular?
My dad loves this movie so much that until I think I was like 15, he would play the 24 hours on TBS every year at Christmas until I had money and I bought him his own DVD copy of it. And he was like, yes! I won Christmas that
Why
year.
did you get him the Laserdisc version?
I've seen exactly one movie on Laserdisc, and funnily enough, it was also a Christmas movie. The only movie I've ever seen on Laserdisc was Prancer.
That's a movie title I haven't heard from fucking ever.
I have not seen that movie since I was in 4th grade.
Hey guys, I got a great idea for a movie. Let's make it about the least popular reindeer. But yeah, that's A Christmas Story. It is available to stream on Max, and it actually got a sequel that I have yet to check out. Like a true sequel, not like not a Christmas Story 2, but like, you know what I mean, like the new sequel.
I've been wanting to see that one because there's technically 2 sequels before that. There's Christmas Story 2, and then there's a sequel that nobody fucking talks about, and it was fucking terrible. I think it was like A Summer Story or something like that.
It runs in the family, My Summer Story.
Yes.
Which Bob Clark also directed.
If I remember right, like a lot of people, and I think even the studio kind of likes to pretend that one didn't happen because it was bad.
Yeah. In 2 days' time, we will be back with Ernest Saves Christmas from 1988, starring Jim Varney. You can listen to past, present, and future episodes on supermediabrospodcast.com. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, and Podchaser. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And while you're at it, you can leave us a comment below on YouTube or Spotify. I know you loved A Christmas Story, so tell me how much that you loved A Christmas Story and how much I suck for not liking A Christmas Story as much as you like A Christmas Story.
Make sure to mention how much of a Christmas-hating bastard he is.
Please. I triple dog dare you. Thanks for hanging out with me and doing this. I needed a voice of reason on here to back this movie up. I tried. I have tried. I promise. Like, everybody out there is like, oh, you probably hated the movie before you ever saw it. Like, no, watching it for this podcast was my 4th time ever watching this movie because it's very hard for me to sit through.
Meanwhile, I literally have lost count of how many times I've seen this movie. This was very much like an annual tradition in my house. If it tells you how much my dad loves this movie, the beginning of this year, my mom took him to the Christmas Story house because it's like a museum kind of deal, and it's set up. It still has everything in it from the movie. And my mom posted so many pictures on Facebook. My dad had like the time of his life.
I can only imagine. Thanks again for hanging out with us, everybody. This was episode 305, Cult Cinema Saturday, A Christmas Story. So until next time, I'm Richie.
And I was Puck.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, it was.
Shades on.
We're off.